Can you briefly introduce yourself, just a short idea, kind of what do you do, who you are, these kind of things?
Of course. So my name is Ernest Zakrzewski. I am currently working at CERN in the international relations sector. On a daily basis, I take care of the relations between CERN and its non-member states or associate member states, or at least I help on that. But the core activity is around the non-member state programs, which consist of the non-member state summer student program, as well as the doctoral student program. So the funding, the selections, the contracts, the coordination of the programs per se.
All right, okay. So, kind of how did you become a scientist? What kind of inspired you?
So I am not a scientist. I would say that science, or here exactly physics, is more of a passion thanks to my job. So I come initially from a finance and management background, but the science aspect of my position and that's my interest comes from the fact that at CERN, in my position, on a daily basis, we deal with high-level stakeholders from the non-member states and the associate member states. By that I mean government representatives, ministries, ambassadors, etc., etc., etc. When these people ask you what CERN is currently doing, what are the key projects, what is happening, and what are the physics behind what we do, I feel that even though I am not a scientist, I should be able to answer these questions. So naturally, a spark of interest appeared within me when I started this position, and ever since it is only developing.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Okay. So, kind of with a brief description, can you describe what a day at your work looks like?
Of course. So my day is quite unpredictable. Some days we have official visits from the stakeholders that I mentioned already. In some days it's simply administrative work, catching up on emails, and discussing with the colleagues on the strategies, the approaches that we would like to use in dealing with specific countries or institutions. So it's quite varied, and I like that because there is no recurrent, boring tasks. And if there are, they are a little addition to this very interesting daily life in the organization, because I never know what can happen or what is waiting for me when I get to the office in the morning, and that's the beauty of it.
All right. Can you maybe give a brief description of what CERN is to non-science people, basically?
Of course. So CERN, again, the European Centre for Nuclear Research, is a scientific organization. It's an international organization, but first and foremost, a particle physics laboratory that studies the principles of fundamental physics and tries to answer the question of how the universe was created and how its evolution looked like. If we look at the universe, there is a part of the universe that we can see with telescopes through light that stars emit and that comes towards us. By looking at this light, we look in history. But there is a specific time within this creation of the universe that we cannot see, as the universe was not in its current form. It was in another state of matter. So our accelerator complex, we house the largest particle accelerator in the world, called the LHC, Large Hadron Collider, but also smaller accelerators that are now part, in most cases, of the injection complex for the LHC. Through this accelerator and through the detectors, the 4 LHC experiments that are on this ring, that is 27 kilometers in diameter, roughly 100 meters underground, between the Jura and the Alps, With these facilities, we try to answer these questions of how the universe began, what are the basic principles between the functioning of our universe, and what really is the theory of the Standard Model, for example. Throughout the years, we managed to, or at least our users, our colleagues, the CERN staff managed to come up with groundbreaking discoveries, even managed, for some cases, to obtain the Nobel Prize. So I would say, in general, CERN exists to give a scientific background and a scientific justification on the functioning of the world.
Okay. So, what do you think is the most misunderstood idea about your field or about CERN in general?
I will start with CERN itself. A few years ago, but that is still the case, people have entered into these conspiracy theories that CERN would explode and it will make the entire Earth explode with it. When we've launched the LHC in 2008, that we create black holes and one day we as CERN will swallow the entire Earth and destroy everything and everyone. Or even, that was the best one, that we create portals to hell. So I think these misconceptions about fundamental research, about the accelerators, of course, are a bit biased, because people make assumptions before really understanding what the organization does. So that is the key challenge, to make people understand, make people realize that science is harmless. Another element, and I will go more towards my personal position and aspect of the job, is that people think when I tell them that I do international relations, I do science diplomacy, people would say that it's marketing, but I'm not selling anything, I'm not trying to sell anything. My role in the organization is to allow stakeholders to enter into many ways of collaboration between themselves and the organization itself.
That's it. Okay. So, what advice would you give to your younger self?
That's a hard question. I think that the advice that I would give to my younger self is, do not stop what you're doing. Continue on the path, on the same path, if you feel that it's the good one, it's the correct one. Because the moment you start doubting yourself and you start doubting your choices that you make in life, you start losing the motivation and the elements around you that push you on a daily basis. So I would tell myself to never stop.
All right. Did you ever think of changing your career during your stay at CERN?
Wait, repeat the question?
The question is, did you ever think of changing your course / career during your studies, kind of?
Okay.
You can mention like challenges, these kind of things, you know?
So my story at CERN began in the talent acquisition group, where I was an intern for 14 months. Initially, I thought that this was, well, it was a topic related to a part of my studies, at least. And initially, I thought that it would be interesting, at least, to discover this area, which is quite important for the proper functioning of every company, every organization. So I started there, but in the meantime, unfortunately, my expectations were not met, although I had fantastic colleagues that I am still in touch with today. And I And this, let's say, position within international relations was available. I have finished my internship and started in the international relations sector. And since then, I have never thought about making any changes ever again.
Right.
Let's see what time brings, but for now, it's a fantastic place to be in.
Okay. Do you maybe have something to close with? Maybe you have some thoughts that you wanted to share?
I think what I can say will be a bit motivational for our viewers and listeners. The key element in education, research, science, work, or even personal life is passion. If you feel passionate about something, and that brings me back to what I said that I would tell my younger self. If you feel passionate about something, never question yourself. If something gives you pleasure in life, you like doing it at work or in your studies, continue. Because that's how excellence within these areas of interest is created in society.
All right. That's basically it from my side. Thanks for the chat.
Thank you very much.